So if you're a hardcore fan of Katakuri, you can look at this chapter one of two ways. You can either admire this chapter for showing more depth into his character, or you can be pissed off if you feel like Katakuri should be able to defeat Luffy and should defeat Luffy, because this was a complete switch around, and in my opinion, the turnaround in this fight, the depth and characterization we got from Katakuri, despite the fact we have seen this in so many different series where Katakuri respects his opponent, so he takes damage in order to even out. So we started off where we picked off last week's chapter. Luffy's bleeding up the ass, which obviously he got speared by the trident of Katakuri. We now know the reason why he couldn't avoid that is because he was distracted by Flambe, which is why we saw it in the final panel in the previous chapter. So that makes sense. And you can argue this chapter in one or two ways. If you're a hardcore fan of Katakuri and you think Luffy should technically suffer defeat at the hands of Katakuri, a Yonko commander, then this is where the arguments are going to come in thick and fast, because on the one hand you could say that Katakuri literally gave Luffy a handicap in this chapter, but on the flip side of things, if you look at this from a Luffy's perspective, you could say that would Luffy have been able to dodge that attack if not for Flambe distracting him? Remember, observation hockey, we now know, requires a clear mind, and if you're distracted, you're fucked. That's what happened to Luffy. So even though he tried to actually avoid the attack by using the future seeing observation hockey, which is steadily becoming better and better, and we kind of learned in this chapter that unconsciously Luffy has a better chance of doing this than he does being conscious. And just because the term unconscious doesn't mean you have to be knocked out. Unleash your observation hockey. For instance, right, you're not conscious of the fact that you're doing it. It just happens. That's what unconsciously you're doing. So it's more or less like a reaction, and which is why we got the flashback with Rayleigh, which I kind of appreciated, where he's blindfolded, trying to learn observation hockey. In this case, he actually does it because when Flambe tries to make the shot again, he dodges, kind of like what Sanji did. Maybe by the end of this, if nothing else, Luffy is going to be able to dodge. But the problem is, even if you can dodge, can you actually do that offensively? What can he do offensively against Katakuri? Let's say this. Obviously, the biggest turning point in this chapter was the characterization of Katakuri realizing what happened. So you know what he did? He stabbed himself with the trident to even up the playing field. He's bleeding up the ass. And I noticed this in the previous chapter. He was breathing heavily, like he's actually slowly but surely getting worn down, not to the level of Luffy, but now things may be a little bit level playing field. I've mentioned this previously. We've seen this at least I've seen this in previous series. This happened with Goku back in the OG Dragon Ball when he came to Piccolo. When Kami blocked the hit, what did Goku do? He said, "No, I'm going to give you a free shot to make punch that Kami blocked." Even though it's not related to Shonen, Beyblade, when Kai fought Tyson in season 3, he wore himself down with training to give himself a fair fight with Tyson. That's pretty much what we had here, although in this case, Oda switched it up with the protagonist actually doing something honorable. In this case, it was the antagonist, and I don't think I've ever seen a One Piece villain ever almost do themselves in like that. Can you? And if it is, this list is very short. So that adds a new layer to Katakuri's characterization. Obviously, with respect for Luffy, otherwise he would not have done what he did. That's a fact. So, but I can see this being a plot device for Luffy now having somewhat of a chance against Katakuri. So, like I said, you can take this one of two ways. You're either going to be super pissed because you're a hardcore Katakuri fan, or lean forward now and wonder what's going to happen next, because now this, like I said, this even playing field. And this chapter pretty much just focused pretty much on Katakuri versus Luffy, not much else. I do think this is going to play a role. Now, I'm not saying Katakuri is going to pull 180 and actually side with the Straw Hats, no. But by the end, this Luffy man gaining Katakuri's respect to the point where he actually lets him go through the mirror. So, I don't know, that could play a role. I don't think he's going to do anything to stab Big Mom in the back. Although we did kind of get some more of a flashback when it comes to Katakuri. Similar with Pudding because of his appearance. In his case, it was because of her third eye. But we know she has a huge ability to help out if she becomes an ally to the Straw Hats. So that's number one. Number two, Katakuri got marked because of his mouth. And in this chat, oh boy, the fan club, the fan club of Katakuri, they bailed and they pulled the 180 themselves. the moment they saw Katakuri's true face. And Flambe, who was the leader of all this, was like horrified by Katakuri's appearance. He did that intentionally. So if you're gonna laugh at Luffy, you're gonna laugh at me because of this mouth. So that should tell you right there everything you need to know about where this is headed. Flambe was going to do something, but then Katakuri saw what was coming next. Said you won't be able to avoid this. So Luffy, with his Conqueror's Haki, knocks them all out, including Flambe, which is kind of a disappointment considering that Conqueror's Haki works on the weak. So being the Charlotte family, you'd think, family member, you would think she'd be able to withstand that, but no. So that's going to be interesting. We'll see what that goes. Luffy and Katakuri now. This is going to be a 1v1. I still think Luffy's at a disadvantage because he's lost way more stamina and that took more damage. But if Luffy's going to have a chance, I can't see any other way. And I don't. Well, first thing I should notice when Luffy was actually trying to Katakuri's attacks, because he's using Devil Fruit Awakening to use Gatling, Mochi Gatling again. He was able to use Armor and Haki to block some of the damage, but he's still able to be flown back. And then Katakuri came down with a trident to stab Luffy. And this is kind of where the turn kind of happens, because Katakuri kind of asks, why were you distracted back then? So, and then couldn't find out it was Flambe. So that was kind of interesting. We got more insight to Katakuri, and I feel like the more we do this up, the closer we are to Katakuri being taken down. That's my opinion, but I like how it focuses directly on the mirror world. I'm pretty sure Capone, or the next chapter, is going to focus on Capone leading Big Mom away. Well, now in that case, we have 3 hours on the time limit, so that could be the perfect opportunity to like spread this fight out, and because we got a couple of chapters left, so this could end by chapter 900. So they could flush this fight out. It could be. I think we can all agree at this point, Katakuri is by far the best antagonist. I'm not going to say villain anymore because he's less than a villain than I thought he was going to be. So after this chapter, so that's it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like this review if you did appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece. Catch you guys later.